Smackdown starts off with a women's tag team championship match between Rio versus Nia and Lash Legend. This match was solid. This was a solid match. It did end in a countout or disqualification. I'm not really sure because they never specify what happened. The bell just rang when it was outside, so I'm assuming it was a countout, but they never said it was a countout or disqualification. But it led to the bell getting rang, so the match never officially got a winner. So it ends in a no contest. They brawl on the outside. It ended up leading into Io Sky putting Nia through a table. It was a moment where the table was on the outside, Nia was on the ring apron, and Io Sky ends up going back and forth between the ropes into Nia, leading into them both landing on the table, which I thought was cool. And then you end up getting Lash Legend spearing Rhea Ripley into the barricade. I like what they did here. I understand why they probably went this route. They probably went this route to protect all the wrestlers because I know Nia does got a Elimination Chamber women's qualifying match, so they probably want to protect her for that match. That way she doesn't lose any momentum going into that match. Plus, you got Rhea Ripley and Io Sky, who are probably going to be in the Elimination Chamber, so they're not going to lose. So it makes all perfect sense why. Now, one thing I do want to mention is there's a potential chance that every woman in the Elimination Chamber outside of Tiffany Stratton is in a tag team. That is a problem. I'm sorry. That is an issue. Like, this is one of the main reasons. This is one of the main reasons why I haven't been as high on the women's tag team division, because it's a good division, yes, but this is one of the issues. There's no way we're going to have an Elimination Chamber match and every woman besides one is going to be in a fucking tag team. That is ridiculous. That is crazy. That is crazy to think about, that the only person that's not in a tag team is going to be Tiffany Stratton. That is ridiculous. Like, that's too many tag teams. That's too many tag teams. Like, that makes no sense. Like, that is a bit ridiculous. We'll see how it eventually unfolds. But that's a bit ridiculous that 90% of the match is just going to be the women's tag team division. That's just ridiculous. Like, that's one of the reasons why, like I said, as much as I do think it is good that the women's tag division is good now, it's good mainly due to all the single stars doing the tag team stuff, and we know eventually they're going to move on. So I am very interested to see how they're going to do this, how they're going to, because eventually all these women will become single stars again. I'm just interested to see how Triple H is going to actually do this whenever he does put them back in the single stars. So I'm very interested to see what he does with that. But nonetheless, I like what they did at the beginning of the show. This was arguably the best thing. If it wasn't, well, yeah, this was arguably the best thing for me personally, because the main event was a better match. But due to the ending, it wasn't really, it really kind of ruined it for me. But nonetheless, this was a great way to open the show. Afterwards, we were supposed to get Melo versus Ilya Dragunov for the United States Championship. Solo Sikoa interrupts. He basically ends up saying that Ilya needs to go to the back of the line here or lost his chances, and that he's supposed to be next in line for the U.S. title. Melo interrupts. Well, Ilya ends up saying something about Solo's family. You know how Solo feels about the MFT, so he ends up, taking offense to that. They end up jumping Melo and Ilya, but then you end up getting Shinsuke, Apollo Crews, and Matt Cardona interrupt. But now, when you think of the names, it don't make sense. But there was a segment earlier where Matt Cardona and Apollo ended up, confronting Melo, so that makes more sense to why they helped. I don't know why Shinsuke is in this, because they've been telling the story between him and Tama Tonga for like the longest time. So I'm assuming that's why he helped. So this ended up becoming a 10-man tag team match between the MLTs, Ilya Dragunov, Melo, Matt Cardona, Apollo Crews, and Shinsuke Nakamura. So Apollo Crews is back on TV. That's something. It's good for him. It's good for him to be on TV. So I don't mind it as much. The MFTs actually won this match for Tama Tonga picking up the pinfall over Melo. In typical situations, I don't like when a champion gets pinned here, but I don't mind it mainly because this is hopefully telling us that they're going to give us new opponents for Melo, because I like Melo. I think his run as champion has been solid. My main issue is that he keeps facing the same people over and over and over again. We need some new opponents. I like Ilya Dragunov. I love him. I think that's probably going to be the Mania match. But I don't want to see them niggas face no more until Mania, because they have faced like 3 times already. Like, we're kind of milking it a bit too much now. Like, we need to slow down on that, in my opinion. So Tama Tonga is going to be the next opponent. I'm cool. And then you can add Apollo and Matt Cardona as well. I'm cool if you add them, because Melo needs some new guys, okay? I don't care if we know he's going to beat those guys. It's just new opponent. We need some new faces. So if this is him getting some new opponents, some new guys to face, I'm happy with it. So I don't mind this. So I'm cool with how this eventually unfold. The match itself was solid. It was a fine, solid match for what it was, but it looks like Tama Tonga and Carmelo Hayes is going to be the next program, so I'm cool where they're going with. So let's hope Melo gets some new opponents. We get a women's WWE Women's Championship match between Jade Cargill versus Jordan Grace. We finally get Jade Cargill's first title defense, and it was actually a good match. It was actually a solid match. They had really good chemistry. There were moments in the match where it was a bit sluggish, but to be fair, Jade Cargill doesn't wrestle that much, especially with the limited house shows that they do now. I'm not mad at the match. It was a bit sluggish, but overall, this was actually an enjoyable match. Jade Cargill won cleanly, which I actually like because I thought they was going to do some bullshit finish where they was going to protect both wrestlers. But no, she won cleanly, which she should because she needs to be built up strong towards Mania. You end up getting Liv Morgan. She was out there, to tease potential matchup between Jade and Liv, but we know she's choosing Stephanie, especially because with Stephanie, she actually has a little bit more actual of a feud, a little bit more heat with her interactions with Stephanie, where she doesn't really have any heat towards Jade. So it looks like she's definitely going to choose Stephanie. But nonetheless, Jade does pick up the victory here, which I do like. Now, I know a lot of people are going to complain, because people complain out the way. Because she defends her title here, people still complain about the match. It's like, what do you want, bro? Like I said, if she was to defend her title during this entire run, she would have just been facing the same people. Because the only people during that time, because she couldn't face Tiffany, and then she can't face Nia because you guys would have complained about her facing Nia because she already had multiple matches with Nia. So the only people in that division she would have realistically faced was Beach and Mifab, because she wasn't going to face Alexa Bliss or Charlotte because they're in the tag team division for the most part. So it's like, it was a lose-lose situation for Jade Cargill, but she had a good performance in my opinion. So interested to see who wins the Elimination Chamber. I can really see, because right now the only person I'm really seeing is Tiffany Stratton, because it is very obvious with the way they're booking her that they're waiting on Bianca. It is so obvious with the way they're booking Jade, is that they're clearly waiting on Bianca. Because it's a reason why Liv Morgan hasn't chosen her opponent yet. They haven't had Liv Morgan choose her opponent because they are hoping that Bianca eventually comes. Because if Bianca could eventually come into the picture eventually, then they could easily force Bianca into the match. But if they have Liv Morgan already choose Stephanie, then it's guaranteed that whoever faces Jade will win the Elimination Chamber. So they're clearly holding out on this because the original plan was Bianca, and they're still hoping on that. But I don't think Bianca's going to make it. I'm assuming the match is probably going to be Tiffany Stratton or Rhea Ripley, because majority of the women that's in the match is going to be tag teams, because it's going to be Rhea Ripley, Io Sky, Alexa Bliss made it. Then Charlotte Flair got a qualifying match, Tiffany Stratton, and then I know Asuka, Bayley, and someone else has it. So one of them is going to make it as well. So that's 6. So 5 out of the 6 women are going to be tag teams. So unless Rhea Ripley is winning, or unless Tiffany Stratton is winning, that's her only opponents for Mania. So we'll see how that eventually unfolds. But this was a good title defense. We get the main event. We end up getting Jacob Fatu versus Cody Rhodes versus Sami Zayn, elimination qualifying match. This match was great. This was a great match. I enjoyed it. Towards the end of the match, you end up getting Drew McIntyre interferes in the match as I expected. He takes out Jacob Fatu, hits Cody with a Claymore, puts Sami on top of Cody. Cody kicks out. And then he attacks Cody some more. Then you get Sami Zayn does the typical babyface thing where he has to attack the heel because he doesn't want to win that way. He hits him with a haluva kick. Cody Rhodes hits a crossroads and wins the match. Okay. This was stupid. I don't like this. Now, here's the thing. I didn't mind Cody winning because it's Cody Rhodes. He's the face of the company. He's going to main event every single WrestleMania. That's not my problem. My issue is more so how he won this match. What was the point of Drew McIntyre interfering if Cody was going to win anyway? Because this doesn't help Drew case at all. This just makes Drew look like a dumbass. This makes Drew look worse, and it makes Cody look invincible. Why is Cody kicking out of that? Why? Like, what are we doing? Like, why did Cody need to kick out of that? I don't understand it. And then Drew just looks stupid for trying to help Sami in the whole thing. And then Sami looks even more stupid. Like, it's the typical babyface trope where the babyface attacks the heel because he doesn't want to win that way, but it's just annoying. Like, why? I don't mind Cody winning. I already knew Sami had a low chance of winning. But why did we have to do all of this just for Cody to win anyway? This doesn't add to his character. This just makes his character be what we always know he was, which is invincible. Like, you should have just had Cody lose here, or have him win clean, no interruptions. That way, everything still plays out the same, and then you could have had him potentially cost him the chamber. That would have been more interesting. But now, it looks like Cody is going to win the chamber, which is very predictable, and we're getting Jacob, Drew, and Cody most likely, which I'm not really moved. I would have personally just have Sammy win here. You could have had Cody eventually enter the chamber by eventually having Cody, Cody, Jacob, and Drew, have them have a triple threat in the chamber. Cody wins, then you have Randy win the chamber, and then we get Cody and Randy if you still want the main event match. I think that would have been perfect, but they went this route. I don't know why they went all this extra shenanigans. This was very unnecessary, very overbooked in my opinion, but it is what it is. Overall show, it was a decent show. It was a decent overall show. It wasn't bad. It was a decent overall show. It was a bit long for it to be a 3-hour show, in my opinion. This felt like this was one of those shows that really could have been just 2 hours, but you guys let me know your overall thoughts and opinions down below in the comment section. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Make sure you hit the notification bell. Don't miss any of my content. But yeah, that's it.